Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you're not enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not confident enough? You put on a brave face, the smile, the calm voice, the handshake that says, "I've got this." But inside you're questioning yourself. You scroll through social media, you see everyone else looking like they have their life together, and a quiet voice inside whispers, "Why can't I be like that?" I get it, because I've been there. And honestly, every man I've ever met has been there too. We live in a world that sells us confidence like it's a product. Buy this, wear that, achieve more, be louder. But the truth is, none of that lasts. Because real confidence, the kind that doesn't shake when life gets hard, doesn't come from what you own or who approves of you. It comes from something deeper, how you govern yourself. That's what the Stoics understood over 2,000 years ago. They didn't talk about self-esteem or positive affirmations. They talked about self-mastery. They believed that true confidence isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, grounded, and earned through the way you live each day. And when you start living by those principles, something shifts. You stop chasing approval. You stop apologizing for existing. You start trusting yourself because your actions finally align with your values. A friend of mine once told me, "I wish I could be as confident as you." I smiled and said, "You can, but you have to stop waiting to feel confident. You have to start acting like the person you respect." Confidence in the Stoic sense isn't about pretending you're fearless. It's about standing firm even when you're scared. It's not about never failing, it's about refusing to be defined by failure. I once worked with a young man who had everything going for him. A good job, a nice apartment, friends who admired him, but inside he was falling apart. He told me, "I feel like I am living someone else's life. I look successful, but I don't feel it." So we started small, so the morning reflections, journaling, cutting back on distractions, facing discomfort instead of avoiding it. A few months later, something changed. He didn't talk louder, he didn't brag more. He simply became stiller, clearer, more certain of who he was. That's Stoic confidence, the kind that doesn't need an audience to exist. You see, the problem today isn't that people don't have confidence. It's that they've built it on fragile ground, on looks, on likes, on temporary wins. But the moment those fade, their sense of worth collapses with them. The Stoics took a different approach. They built confidence from the inside out, not from ego, but from effort, not from comparison, but from character. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, wrote every morning to remind himself who he wanted to be, before the world tried to tell him otherwise. He faced war, betrayal, disease, yet his calm never left him. Why? Because his peace didn't depend on the chaos around him, it came from the order within him. That's what this video is about, not quick tricks, not motivational quotes, but habits, 7 Stoic habits that, if practiced daily, can forge a level of self-confidence that no insult, no failure, no rejection can take away. Because let's be honest, life will test you, you'll be criticized, you'll be overlooked, you'll fail at something you cared about, and in those moments, you'll be tempted to shrink, to doubt, to give in. But here's the question, what if your confidence didn't depend on winning or losing? What if it came from knowing that no matter what happens, you can trust yourself to handle it with integrity and strength? That's the confidence of a Stoic. It's not arrogance, it's not bravado, it's quiet certainty, the kind that says, "I've faced worse and I'm still here." In this video, we'll explore 7 habits that build that kind of confidence, from mastering your inner voice, to embracing discomfort, to finding strength in silence. These aren't theories, they're practices. And if you commit to them, even for a few weeks, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop chasing validation and start respecting yourself. Because real confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the one who doesn't need to prove anything. So if you've ever felt like you've lost your sense of self, or if you're tired of letting fear, doubt, or comparison control your mind, this message is for you. We're going to slow down, breathe, and rediscover the version of you that's been there all along. Strong, calm, and unshakable. Let's begin. 1. Morning clarity. Begin each day with a calm mind. The Stoics believed that the way you start your morning determines the tone of your entire day. Marcus Aurelius began each dawn reminding himself that he would meet people who were selfish, jealous, and ungrateful, yet he chose to stay kind and calm. That's not pessimism, it's preparation. Before you pick up your phone, before you let the world rush in, take 5 minutes each morning to set your inner compass. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? How do I want to respond when things go wrong? A few years ago, I worked with a client who struggled with anger and self-doubt. Every small setback ruined his mood, so I told him to start his mornings differently, not with emails or news, but with reflection. Within a month, he said, I don't lose my calm so easily anymore. I feel like I start the day already centered. That's the power of morning clarity. Confidence doesn't begin with achievements, it begins with awareness. When your mind is prepared, the world can't knock you off balance. 2. Master the inner voice. Talk to yourself like someone you respect. If you spoke to your best friend the way you speak to yourself, would they still want to be around you? Most people don't realize how cruel their inner dialogue is. Every time you say, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up, you're training your brain to believe it. Epictetus taught that our suffering doesn't come from events, it comes from our judgments about them, and that includes the judgments we pass on ourselves. A friend of mine, a veteran, once told me, I've been through war, but my biggest battle is in my head. So we practiced a Stoic technique, reframing thoughts. Instead of saying, I failed, he learned to say, I learned. Instead of, I can't handle this, he said, this is my chance to train resilience. It sounds simple, but over time his confidence returned. Because your words shape your perception, and your perception shapes your life. So from now on, when your mind says, you can't, answer with calm certainty, yes I can, one step at a time. That's not arrogance, that's discipline over doubt. 3. Do hard things daily. Train the muscle of willpower. Every man wants confidence, few are willing to earn it. You can't think your way into self-confidence, you build it by doing difficult things. Consistently. Seneca wrote, throw yourself into situations that test you, for fire tests gold and adversity tests brave men. Do something uncomfortable every day. Even something small. Take a cold shower, speak up in a meeting, say no when you usually say yes. Each time you push through discomfort, you're not just strengthening your body, you're training your mind to obey you, not your fears. A few months ago, a young man I was mentoring told me, I don't feel confident because I never finish what I start. So I challenged him to do one difficult thing every morning, make his bed perfectly, no excuses. He laughed at first, but weeks later he told me, that small habit changed everything. I started trusting myself again. That's how Stoics lived, not waiting for the world to test them, but testing themselves on purpose. Because when you do hard things by choice, life's challenges don't intimidate you anymore. True confidence doesn't come from thinking I can do this. It comes from knowing I've done harder things before. 4. Compare less, focus more. The freedom of staying in your own lane. We live in a world obsessed with comparison. Scroll through social media for 5 minutes and suddenly you feel behind. Someone younger has more money, someone prettier has more attention, someone louder has more followers. Comparison is poison for confidence. It convinces you that your worth depends on someone else's highlight reel. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, it is not the opinion of others that should disturb you, but your own judgment of yourself. A confident person doesn't need to prove they're better, they're simply focused on being consistent. I once met a musician who stopped writing songs for 2 years because he felt inferior to everyone else online. One day he told me, I realized I don't want to be the best, I just want to be true. He started creating again, quietly, purely, and his joy returned. That's the Stoic way. When you stop comparing, you stop competing for attention and start competing for excellence. You begin to measure your life not by applause, but by alignment between your values and your actions. So ask yourself, what do I truly control today? The answer will always lead you back to focus, and focus is where self-confidence grows roots. 5. Practice silence. The power of saying less. In a noisy world, silence has become a superpower. The Stoics believed that a calm mind expresses itself through measured words. That confidence isn't in how much you say, but in the strength behind your silence. Seneca once wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned from the many sufferings of life." And it's true. The older you get, the more you realize that not every opinion deserves a response, not every argument deserves your energy. A man who speaks less but means every word carries more weight than one who talks endlessly to be heard. I remember a mentor of mine, a quiet, steady man, who once told me, people listen to you when your words come from stillness, not from ego. That line stayed with me. Practicing silence isn't about being passive, it's about choosing your battles wisely. Confidence doesn't shout, it resonates. And the man who can stay calm when others lose control, that's the one everyone turns to when things fall apart. 6. Keep a Stoic journal. Write your way to clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations not to publish but to process. Every page was a conversation with himself, a reminder to stay grounded, humble, and honest. Journaling is one of the most powerful Stoic habits for self-confidence because it replaces emotional noise with understanding. When you write about your fears, your regrets, your daily challenges, you take them out of the shadows of your mind and into the light of reason. A client of mine, a busy entrepreneur, once told me, I can't stop overthinking. So I told him, don't stop thinking, start writing. Within a few weeks, his stress dropped dramatically. He said, I realized half the problems in my head weren't even real. That's what happens when you write. You stop being ruled by your emotions and start managing them. Every sentence becomes a mirror, showing you who you are and who you're becoming. Confidence doesn't grow from pretending you're fine, it grows from understanding yourself deeply enough to stay calm even when you're not. So tonight, before bed, take a pen and ask yourself, what did I do well today? What did I avoid that I should have faced? What can I improve tomorrow? That's how Stoics built their peace, one reflection at a time. 7. Confidence comes from character. Live by your values. The final habit might be the most important one of all, because no matter how much you practice, read, or plan, if your actions don't align with your values, your confidence will always feel hollow. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. In other words, decide who you want to be, then live like it every day. Real confidence doesn't come from appearances, it comes from integrity, from knowing that you can trust yourself when it matters most. I once met a man who had lost everything, his business, his money, even the trust of people around him. When I asked how he planned to rebuild, he said, I'll start by keeping one promise to myself every day. And he did. It wasn't glamorous, but over time his confidence returned. Not because the world believed in him again, but because he did. That's what Stoic confidence is. It's not arrogance. It's quiet faith in your own character. It's the strength to look in the mirror and say, I may not be perfect, but I am honest. I am improving, I am grounded. When your words match your values, and your actions match your words, no one can take that confidence from you. So we've just walked through the 7 Stoic habits for unshakable self-confidence. When combined, these habits form a complete way of living, a life where calm replaces anxiety, purpose replaces comparison, and inner strength replaces the need for approval. Take a slow breath with me. You've just walked through 7 Stoic habits, 7 quiet practices that can rebuild your confidence from the inside out. No quick fixes, no empty affirmations, just timeless discipline for the modern soul. You see, self-confidence isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about not being controlled by those doubts anymore. It's about having the courage to look your insecurities in the eye and keep moving forward anyway. The Stoics never said confidence would come easily. They didn't talk about feeling good. They talked about being good. They built strength the way blacksmiths forge steel, through heat, pressure, and patience. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. They all faced chaos, failure, betrayal, loss, yet their calm never left them. Why? Because they built their confidence not on control over others, but on control over themselves. And maybe that's what we've forgotten today. We chase confidence through validation, through likes, through status, through appearance. But all of that is fragile. The moment the world changes its mind about you, it collapses. The Stoic kind of confidence is different. It's quiet, it's steady, it's earned one choice at a time. When you keep your promises to yourself, when you choose discipline over distraction, when you learn from failure instead of hiding from it, when you live in alignment with your values, that's when something powerful happens. You stop pretending to be confident, you start becoming it. I remember a man I once worked with, a firefighter. He told me that real confidence isn't built in safety, it's built in chaos. He said, you can't fake calm when the world's burning around you. That's the essence of Stoicism, composure under fire, clarity in the storm. So the next time you doubt yourself, pause, take one breath, and remember, you don't need to prove anything, you just need to show up. With integrity, with awareness, with strength. Confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. And when you live with that awareness, nothing can shake you for long, because storms will pass, failures will fade, but the man or woman you become in the process, the one who stood firm, who stayed calm, who refused to quit, that version of you stays forever. That's what these 7 Stoic habits are really about. Not chasing power, but cultivating peace. Not building an image, but building a foundation that no one can take away. So if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you that confidence is not a performance but a practice, then stay with us, subscribe to Stoic Awakening More. Not for the numbers, but for your growth. Every week we explore Stoic wisdom that helps you stay grounded, no matter what the world throws at you. Share your thoughts below. Which of these 7 habits resonated with you most? Maybe it was silence, maybe it was journaling, maybe it was that reminder that character, not comfort, builds confidence. Your comment might just be the voice someone else needs to hear today. Like this video, if it gave you perspective, not for me, but to help this message reach someone who's still fighting their own self-doubt, and share it with a friend who's struggling to find confidence right now. Because sometimes, one quiet message can remind someone that they're stronger than they think. You don't have to become someone new, you just have to return to the version of yourself that's already strong, already calm, already capable. That's Stoic confidence, and it's been inside you all along. This is Stoic Awakening More. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay true. And as always, remember, the strongest confidence is the one that doesn't need to shout, it simply stands.